Good morning and welcome to the Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. In the coming half hour, we've got a lot of great stuff to cover and so much excitement building around the Artemis II, and it's going to make its closest kind of approach and pass of the moon. It's going to circle the moon on the dark side later today and then slingshot back to Earth tomorrow. It's really an exciting day for that Artemis II mission. That's one of the things we've been watching carefully for a long time, and we'll keep you updated on that. Here are some of the big headlines we're going to be covering from the Weather Desk today. Fire crews in Southern California have been working hard to contain a wildfire east of L.A. We're going to talk about that, kind of update you on where they are with that. We've got some concerning news on Oregon's snowpack, and this is the time of year, late April especially, where they reach typically the peak of their snowpack. They are not in good shape right now, so we're going to explain that and what they're worried about going forward, how it really stacks up to past years. There's a lot to share with you on that. In addition, we've got too much rain in Michigan around East Lansing. They had some flooding over the weekend. We'll show you that. Again, everything with Artemis II we've been watching. The astronauts are still sleeping as we speak right now. I'm like lowering my voice like I'm going to wake them up. They're not watching the... Well, maybe they do. Maybe they somehow stream it up too. Maybe not. Anyway, they're getting their sleep right now, but they're getting ready for their big day a little bit later on, and we're going to talk more about what they're going to accomplish later today. And then an update on the pollen. Not only are we going to check the conditions right now around Hampton Roads in Southeast Virginia, but we're going to talk about the effect that rain can have on pollen levels. We got about a half an inch of rain yesterday at Norfolk International. Those storms came through. So you might think, oh, okay, we got rain, there's relief. But the rain kind of acts a little differently with the pollen. It can cleanse the atmosphere a little bit, but it can also bring more. So we'll break all that down for you. And then speaking of more, how about some more temperature swings for the 757 and for Northeast North Carolina? We're looking at temperatures, big difference, big drop in temperatures today from yesterday and over the past week. It's going to be cool for a while, but those temperatures rocketing back up again. I'll explain exactly what you can expect and when coming up with that. We're going to start off, though, by taking a look at Southern California. And you see L.A. here. Want to zoom in. Here's Palm Springs. And in between L.A. and Palm Springs, we have the Springs Fire. And you can see it's pretty close to the Moreno Valley. Again, this is east of L.A. You can see Woodcrest, Riverside, some of the different communities out there. Firefighters in this part of California were working around the clock over the weekend to stop the Springs fire from spreading. We've got some good news on that. It had burned more than 4,000 acres, about 4,200 acres as we were going over the weekend. Reed Binion has a story.
I noticed it started getting orange outside. And I said, wow, we experiencing an eclipse or something like that?
Residents in Southern California.
She said, no, it looked like a fire.
Reacting to the state's first major wildfire of the season.
We're very afraid.
There's a concern. I mean, we're out here, we're all scared for the threat of our homes.
The Springs fire in Riverside County started on Friday. Powerful Santa Ana wind gusts fanned the flames, causing the blaze to grow in size.
We have the advantage that we don't have 60-mile-an-hour winds. Now they've been up pretty good today.
CAL FIRE crews sprang into action immediately from the ground and the air. Planes dropping fire retardant and helicopters dumping water on the flames. The blaze prompting evacuations.
Police knock on everybody's door telling them to leave.
Some residents staying as long as possible to spray down their homes with water.
Just hosing down the eaves just to take a little precaution. That's about it. That's all I can do. Not that it may not help. I don't know. Maybe it will.
Multiple evacuation orders remained in effect as of Saturday morning, leaving residents and homeowners concerned but hoping for the best.
Fire department's strong out here, so they're doing what they have to do and keep us aware and safe.
We trust in God, so, everything will be okay.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
All right, so the very latest on this, and I was looking at reports coming in, just updating from late last night, the Springs fire is now 95% contained, so they made a lot of headway over the weekend. And the really good news is that they've stopped the forward motion of the fire. They've got that under control as well. So it's no longer spreading, and they've actually lifted the evacuations and all of the advisories and warnings that were out there. So they've just about got that one taken care of. Some good news there. All right, I do want to talk to you about other parts of the country that are dealing with the threat of wildfires, and that fire danger is great as you see the area shaded in red. That's where we have the red flag warning. We also have very dry conditions and a fire watch over southern parts of Georgia and the Florida Panhandle there, so dry and breezy conditions there. Here's the red flag warning, though. Again, dry conditions, low humidity, gusty winds over portions of southwest Kansas, including Dodge City, down through Guymon in Oklahoma, and then a little bit farther to the west, it spreads back into New Mexico and obviously North Texas there as well. So that's the area that's most concerned with the red flag warning. I just wanted to update you on that. We were talking last week about the snow situation, and there was a little late season snow up around Reno and portions of the Cascades there. You head into Sierras. I just said Cascades. Sierras. Anyway, they had a little bit of snow, but their snowpack has been down there. It's of greater concern in Oregon. And while we're out here, let's talk about the results of the snowpack survey on Mount Hood in Oregon. That snow survey they just did is raising red flags. Check it out. While snow appeared plentiful on the surface, you're walking along there, you're going, oh, they look like they're in great shape. Well, that's not the condition, because below that surface snow, it's a totally different story. The snow survey found the mountain's water equivalent is only 43% of normal for this time of year. And the timing of these results is also very concerning, since the peak snowpack at Mount Hood occurs in late April, second half of April. That means levels could remain far below average, even higher at the highest point. So there is that concern. You see what they were doing there. They actually measure. They take a physical measurement of the depths of snow, and that helps them monitor their results.
Yeah, this is a pretty grim year. So it's obviously historically low snowpack, and so we're obviously very, at this point in time, we're kind of, letting everybody know that we're highly certain that this spring and summer will be especially challenging for Oregon.
Now, the researchers say the conditions this year mirror some of the lowest snowpacks on record, which include those from 2015, 2005, and 1977. The impacts of this are expected to be more severe in eastern Oregon, where snowpack can account for as much as 70% of the water supply. That's why it's so very, very important that they get that snowpack, and they're coming up short right now. I had a chance to go out and spend some time with the Utah Snow Survey, and we got up into the Wasatch and really up into the high Uintas is where we were doing some of our measurements. And they can do it. That's the kind of the old school way, where they run the rods down to take measurements in different locations. They also have what they call snow tells, which are basically giant, almost, they look like mattresses, but they're like a giant metal pan, essentially, that weighs the amount of snow and the water content that falls on it. And those are remotely sent back, but they have to go and verify that those work. So folks go up, measure the snow, and that gives them an indication of what their water supply is going to be. That's a story we will continue to follow for you here on the Weather Desk. Snow heavier up into portions of Wyoming and Idaho, but you know they've dealt with a snow drought in the northwest part of Colorado. And again, while the Uintas seeing some snow there, not as much along the Wasatch. Of course, we are getting into that warmer time now, and you won't look for much more snow there. Maybe a late season snowfall occasionally, but it's starting to wind down. Snow continues to be on the ground and plentiful over the upper peninsula of Michigan, but we're going to turn our attention to the lower peninsula of Michigan and get into that. You see with the radars, we zoom in, a few snow flurries up in that part of the country, maybe a few light sprinkles, but over the weekend, it was a different story. As we zoom in and show you Lansing here, you can see the rain was widespread and continuing for much of the weekend, certainly Friday into Saturday. And now this heavy rain over the weekend caused major flooding. The floodwaters submerged dozens of cars at an apartment complex in East Lansing. Bobby Cushing reports.
So I woke up about 8:30 and walked outside to see everything underwater.
What Bridget Henderson hoped to be a bad dream turned out to be a reality. Flooding overtaking the parking lot at the Quarters in East Lansing, drowning cars and costing people money.
I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get to work tomorrow because that's what's paying my rent here for them, for my car to be flooded.
Henderson's roommate, Alexis Goodman, is also concerned about what lies ahead after her car was stuck underwater less than a week after her truck was totaled.
And now I was using my mom's car to get to and from work, stuff like that. So I don't know what I'm going to do. This was our only other car.
And with the water as high as it is here, some residents have started grabbing water gear to help other residents whose cars are still trapped get some of their belongings back.
Us having waders, it's easier to get in there and them not get soaked up to their chests.
Aaron Couch and his roommate Mitchell Taylor decided to use those waders to their advantage and help out as much as they could. One other resident who didn't have the same gear tried to get to his car but quickly returned. Taylor said it was his idea to help after he saw the damage coming home from work.
So I left at 4 a.m., it was dry. Got home at 9 a.m. and it was completely flooded.
What did you think when you came back and saw that?
Very nervous for all the other residents.
Both Couch and Taylor say while they stand by and wait for the water to go down, they will be out there as much as possible.
It's so difficult to see that. Well, we'll continue to watch that as well. As we look right now across the country, most of Michigan here just seeing some very light precip winding down. Most of that area dry now, and that's certainly good news. There is still some potential for additional excessive rainfall down along kind of the Space Coast. As we take a closer look at that, we'll zoom into Florida and show you some of the areas. Again, that does include the areas around Cape Canaveral. You can see Daytona Beach. It's south of Jacksonville, but still Daytona Beach back through Orlando, Melbourne, down through Fort Pierce, and a little farther south, just north of West Palm. And you can see back across the central part of Florida, they could see some heavier rain there as well. So just a level 1 threat, but maybe a little excessive rainfall. As far as the severe weather outlook goes, most of the country looks great. There's really no threat of it today or tomorrow. So I just showed you Monday and Tuesday, coast to coast. The Storm Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma, doesn't see anything that's really catching their eye or has them concerned. I will say on Wednesday, back across central Kansas, there is an opportunity. It's just a level 1 or marginal threat, but there could be some stronger storms anywhere from just north of Dodge City through Hays, Kansas, Concordia, back to Colby and the extreme southern tier there of Nebraska. So as far as the severe weather outlook goes, that's all that we're going to watch for, and that comes on Wednesday. All right, you see the rocket on the launch pad. This was obviously pre-launch, but we do have an update for you. We'll let you know where our astronauts are as the Artemis II mission continues. It's an exciting day. We'll have that, and we're going to look ahead for Hampton Roads here. Some more wild temperature swings coming up. That'll be right after the break, so stick around just 2 minutes. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You can see a good look at Artemis II there. As we take a look, we want to talk to you about the update on that mission right now. And this is the day we've been so much looking forward to. Today, the NASA, the 4 crew members, the 4 astronauts are going to fly around the moon. This is the big day that we've all been waiting for. They will be the only humans able to witness a total solar eclipse. They will also set a new space distance record. Here's ABC's Hannah Battah.
The Artemis II crew is just hours away from the moon, a mission more than 50 years in the making.
It's a magnificent accomplishment to be up here, to see the moon, to see the Earth, and to know that we are between those 2 celestial bodies.
Today, the crew is expected to travel farther from Earth than any humans before them.
We will reach the farthest distance from Earth at a distance of 252,760 miles. That's 4,105 miles farther than Apollo 13.
Overnight, the crew completed a short course correction burn, fine-tuning Orion's trajectory as it entered the moon's gravitational zone and set a path to swing around the far side of the moon. During the flyby itself, the astronauts will work in rotating pairs, trading off about every hour to manage duties, taking photos, and gathering scientific data. The astronauts will capture images of craters and lava flows, places never seen by the naked eye. They'll also take photos of Earth and other planets visible in the distance. Mission Control is expecting a 40-minute communication blackout as Orion passes behind the moon. The crew is making final preparations, practicing with their survival suits, learning how to put them on and take them off in microgravity. These suits, built for the most dangerous moments, can help keep them alive for up to 6 days inside the capsule if needed.
If they had to spend extended time in those orange suits, how would they practice drinking their protein shake or delivering medication? And how would you set up the seats in Orion while you're wearing the bulky suits? These are things that they would need to do in a contingency, and we wanted to be able to practice these before if we found ourselves in a scenario where we would need to do them.
Hannah Battah, ABC News, New York.
Practice, practice, practice. Make sure you know how to do those things. And boy, we're just so excited for the astronauts. And I cannot wait to see some of the coverage later this afternoon and tonight. It's going to be amazing. All right, so we're going to bring it back here to Earth. You know, we were zooming out before. Let's focus on some of these things here, terrestrial things like allergies, right? This is the peak allergy season in Hampton Roads for sure. Many parts of the country really feeling it. And here's where the pollen levels are this morning. We want to take a look at that. Tree pollen is high. You remember last week we had several days where the tree pollen was extreme. That's going to happen again this week. I think we're going to get right back up to the extreme levels. And grass pollen is moderate. We got a little early start to some of the grass pollens out there. It's been an issue, and right now, again, the tree pollen is high. Last night's rain brought it down a little bit from extreme to moderate yesterday, but those levels don't last too long. And, well, Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandagius will explain.
If you suffer from allergies, you've probably noticed rainy days can actually bring some relief. And there's a good reason why. Rain acts like a natural cleanser. It washes pollen out of the air, knocking it down onto the ground, your car, and everything else. So during and right after a rain, pollen levels drop and symptoms often ease up. But here's something most people don't realize. It also depends on just how hard it rains. A lighter, steady rain is actually your best friend. It keeps pollen levels low without really disturbing the plants. But when a heavier downpour or heavy rain, it can do the exact opposite. It can actually knock pollen loose and even trigger plants to release more, almost like shaking a tree. And then comes the bigger catch. Once the rain ends and we dry out, especially if it turns warm and breezy, plants can go right back into overdrive, releasing even more pollen into the air. So your best window for relief is during a light rain or right after it ends. Once the sun comes back out, so does the pollen. For 13 News Now, I'm Chief Meteorologist Tim Pandagius.
And we've got more sunshine over the coming week. And again, after the heavy rain with those storms that came through yesterday, now we're waiting. It's like, okay, the sun's going to be back out. Pollen's going to ramp right back up. Look at these temperatures over the last week. We were in the 80s last Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yesterday, 85. That was 4 degrees below our record high, 89. The interesting thing about yesterday's record high was it was set just 1 year ago. So last year, 89. This year, yesterday, we reached 85. So far today, big difference. Only 58. It will get warmer, though, as the day continues. So these are the highs across the country. We had that front come through last night. You see it was much cooler across the Great Lakes region, back through the Midwest. Temperatures warmed down in Orlando, and it's been pretty hot for the Southwest. As we take a look at our 24-hour temperature change, we're down about 20 degrees from this time yesterday. So this is a much cooler day that we're having. It's going to get even cooler over the next couple of days before another warm-up as we go later in the week. We're currently at 52 in Norfolk, 53 in Virginia Beach, Suffolk, Chesapeake, low 50s on the peninsula. Out towards I-95, temperatures closer to 50 degrees. Over the next 9 hours, temperatures will be warming up a little bit, low 60s, I think, officially, upper 50s at the beaches, and then mid 60s inland. So you kind of pick your place and figure out kind of how warm it's going to be. As you can see, the temperatures will be pretty cool across much of the mid-Atlantic, all the way down through Jacksonville, 70 in Atlanta. Cool across the Great Lakes and for the Northeast U.S., and the warmth building again out across the West Coast. So that's where we're going to see the warmer conditions for now. We'll deal with a few cool days, and then as we go forward, it's going to start warming. All right, we have small craft advisory still up this morning, not for too much longer, but it's been breezy this morning, so you definitely want to check before heading out. Later in the day, things will be improving as the wave action and the winds ease up a bit, but do check again before heading out because those conditions will be changing later on. As you can see, showers down to the south, and again, a little bit of unsettled weather across parts of Ohio into northwest parts of Pennsylvania up into New York State. Some snow showers back across South Dakota into Nebraska and northern Missouri. For Hampton roads, we are dry, and as we get into the futurecast, you're going to notice a little bit of cloud cover from time to time, especially down to the south. So kind of partly cloudy to maybe variably cloudy over eastern North Carolina. It's going to be partly to mostly sunny farther to the north. And again, temperatures ranging from upper 50s to low and mid 60s across the region. Overnight, the winds shift to the south. That's going to keep us mild overnight, upper 40s to low 50s. And tomorrow's high is expected to get back up into the low 60s for many areas, mid 60s farther inland. Now, the winds shift back around. That's going to keep things cooler as we get into Wednesday. Note that onshore flow keeping temperatures down, 40s to near 50 there at the beaches, and then low to mid 50s inland for Wednesday. That's our coolest day of the week. After that, we will start to warm things up. So highs today, again, upper 50s around Virginia Beach at the coastline. I expect the airport temperature maybe 62, 63 degrees in downtown. About the same in Chesapeake, 65 in Suffolk and Franklin. Obviously, those warmer conditions farther inland where you have less influence from the water. Temperatures in the mid 60s around Williamsburg, Newport News, Hampton. I don't know if they're going to make 65, probably more like 63 or so there, but some parts of Hampton may be a little bit warmer. 58 at Matthews, temperatures in the mid 50s for the eastern shore, a little bit cooler over that way. Urbana around 64, same at Edenton, Ahoskie, and Hertford, Gatesville. 65 degrees. And then at the Outer Banks, beautiful but cooler with temperatures in the mid 50s. So you definitely want a jacket if you're going out to Kitty Hawk or any of the areas. Great kite flying weather with the breeze, but it is a little chilly out there near the water. Temperatures around 50 as we head through the overnight. It's going to be quite comfortable. Partly cloudy, winds south at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And then we should see more sunshine tomorrow. Temperatures near 61. Still a bit breezy. So with the sunshine, that opens up the pollen a little bit more, and we're going to see the winds kind of swirling the pollen around. So that's why I do expect those levels to be high or extreme tomorrow, and I think they will continue to build over the next several days. The 7-day forecast looks like this. The temperature's trending down through Wednesday. Wednesday's high, again, low to mid 50s, and then we start to climb again. 63 on Thursday, 70 on Friday, mid 70s for what should be a beautiful weekend with mostly sunny skies. And then early next week, it gets even warmer. Temperatures up into the 80s Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So again, it's a kind of a ride we're cruising along with. The dip in temps and then jumping back up. By the end of next week, we're probably back into the 70s, but it looks like that ride's going to continue with the ups and downs with those temps. Want to remind you, you can always get the latest news, traffic, weather on the go with the 13 News Now mobile app. Scan that QR code. It is a fantastic resource. And I want to let you know you can also find me on social media if the director can take that. I've got some different locations up. Some places you can find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. It's all right there, and I'd love to connect with you there through social media. So you can check me out on any of those areas, those platforms, and we put out a lot of extra content as well. I hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Weather Desk. Be sure and join us each and every weekday morning starting at 9. We'll keep you updated. Until next time, have a good one.